Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and the afterlife, has long been a figure of fascination for archaeologists and historians alike. Known as the guardian of the dead, he was believed to guide souls through the perilous journey to the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, where they would face judgment by Osiris. His presence in tomb paintings and temple carvings is almost ubiquitous, yet his exact role and significance continue to baffle scholars who try to piece together the intricate beliefs of ancient Egyptians. What makes Anubis so intriguing is that he was not just a passive observer of death. He was actively involved in the process of mummification. According to myth, it was Anubis who first taught humans how to preserve their dead by wrapping them in linen and embalming their bodies with sacred oils and herbs. This connection between divine intervention and human ritual is what makes him such a central figure in Egyptian religion, and it has led many archaeologists to wonder if his influence extended beyond mere symbolism. Despite the wealth of artifacts and texts that mention Anubis, there are still mysteries surrounding his origins and evolution within Egyptian mythology. Some scholars believe he was once a more prominent deity before being overshadowed by Osiris during the New Kingdom period, while others argue that his role as a guardian of the dead made him an eternal favorite among the people. This duality, being both a revered god and a mysterious figure, has kept archaeologists guessing for centuries. One of the most puzzling aspects of Anubis is how he managed to maintain such a strong presence in Egyptian culture despite the rise of other deities like Ra, Horus, and Isis. His jackal form, which was associated with the necropolis and the desert where bodies were buried, gave him an almost primal connection to death itself. This unique identity made him both feared and respected, a perfect symbol for a civilization that placed immense importance on preserving the body as a gateway to the afterlife. As archaeologists continue to unearth new evidence from tombs, temples, and inscriptions, they are constantly re-evaluating what they know about Anubis. New discoveries can challenge old theories or even reveal entirely new aspects of his role in Egyptian society. This ongoing process of discovery is what makes the study of ancient Egypt so thrilling. Each find has the potential to rewrite our understanding of a god who was once thought to be just a part of an elaborate mythological system. It was a typical day in the Egyptian desert, with the sun blazing overhead and the wind carrying whispers of ancient secrets. The archaeologists had been working on a routine excavation near a known temple site when they noticed something unusual, a series of strange markings etched into the sand. These weren't just random scratches. They formed patterns that looked almost like hieroglyphs, but with an odd twist. It was as if someone had tried to leave a message for future explorers who might one day uncover their hidden world. Curiosity piqued, the team dug deeper, revealing what appeared to be fragments of stone blocks covered in dust and debris. As they brushed away the layers of history, the shapes began to take form: statues, columns, and even what looked like a partially collapsed chamber. The air felt heavier, almost charged with anticipation, as if the very ground was holding its breath. It wasn't just any sight. It was an echo from the past, whispering tales of rituals and beliefs long forgotten. What caught their attention most was the presence of artifacts that didn't quite fit with what they had expected. There were small clay figurines, some resembling animals, cats, jackals, and birds, all commonly associated with Anubis, the god of mummification and the afterlife. But there were also strange inscriptions on the walls, written in a script that was unfamiliar even to the most experienced scholars. It wasn't just an ordinary temple or burial site. It seemed like a place where ancient religious practices had been practiced with a level of secrecy and reverence that hinted at something much bigger. As they continued their investigation, the team found evidence suggesting that this site had once been a sacred space for rituals related to Anubis. There were traces of incense burned in the corners, tiny bowls filled with dried flowers, and even remnants of what appeared to be offerings left behind by people who had long since vanished from history. The deeper they dug, the more it became clear that this wasn't just a random discovery. It was a portal into an ancient world where gods were worshipped, lives were mummified, and the afterlife was taken seriously. The realization hit them like a wave. This site could change everything they knew about how the ancient Egyptians practiced their religion. The clues pointed to a hidden connection between Anubis and something that hadn't been widely recognized before. It wasn't just about funerary rites or mummification. It was about a deeper spiritual journey, one that tied into the very fabric of Egyptian society and belief systems. And as they stood amidst the dust and stone, they couldn't help but feel like they were standing on the edge of something extraordinary. As the archaeologists carefully brushed away layers of sand and dust, their hands trembled with a mix of excitement and disbelief. Before them lay an intricate statue of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification, its features so well preserved that it seemed as if he had just stepped out of the desert breeze. This was no ordinary find. It was a revelation that hinted at the profound spiritual significance this deity held in ancient Egyptian society. The statue's craftsmanship was astonishing. Every detail, from the delicate fur on Anubis's head to the hieroglyphs etched along his body, told a story of devotion and reverence that had been buried for millennia. But it wasn't just the statue that made the team gasp in awe. Alongside it lay a collection of rare artifacts, small clay figurines of jackals, ceremonial tools used in mummification, and even fragments of papyrus inscribed with prayers to Anubis. These items painted a vivid picture of daily life in ancient Egypt, where people not only worshipped Anubis but also relied on his guidance during the afterlife journey. One particularly intriguing discovery was a small jar filled with what appeared to be dried lotus flowers, a sacred plant believed to symbolize rebirth and renewal, further solidifying Anubis's role as a guardian of the dead. As they dug deeper into the site, the archaeologists uncovered an underground chamber that had remained untouched for thousands of years. Inside were walls adorned with intricate carvings depicting scenes of embalming rituals, with Anubis at the center, guiding souls through the perilous journey to the afterlife. The artistry was breathtaking, and it raised more questions than answers. How had this chamber been hidden so well? And why had it remained undisturbed for so long? It seemed as though the ancient Egyptians had gone to great lengths to ensure that their sacred practices were protected from the ravages of time. One of the most astonishing discoveries was a series of inscriptions written in an unusual dialect of hieroglyphs, which hinted at a previously unknown sect within ancient Egypt that revered Anubis with unparalleled intensity. These texts described rituals that involved not only mummification, but also elaborate ceremonies performed under the light of specific stars believed to be associated with the god. The team was left wondering if these practices had been lost to history or perhaps suppressed by later generations who viewed them as too radical or superstitious. It was clear that Anubis's influence extended far beyond what scholars had previously assumed. The artifacts and structures uncovered at this site were not just relics of the past. They were living testaments to a culture deeply intertwined with the divine. Each item told a story, each carving whispered secrets, and every discovery challenged long-held beliefs about ancient Egyptian religion. As the archaeologists pieced together these fragments of history, it became evident that Anubis was more than just a god. He was a central figure in the very fabric of life and death in this ancient civilization. When archaeologists first laid eyes on those mysterious symbols etched into the stone walls of the ancient site, they couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and confusion. These weren't just random doodles. They were a language that had been carefully crafted over thousands of years to communicate something profound, something about death, the afterlife, and the sacred role of Anubis. Each symbol told a story, like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle waiting to be assembled into a complete picture. The first thing experts noticed was how these symbols mirrored the imagery often associated with Anubis himself, the jackal-headed god who guided souls through the underworld. But it wasn't just about the visuals. The inscriptions were filled with words that referred to mummification, embalming, and the intricate rituals performed to preserve the body for the afterlife. It was as if the ancient Egyptians had built a kind of spiritual roadmap, ensuring their loved ones could navigate the treacherous journey beyond death. One particular symbol caught the eye of the researchers, a stylized representation of a human figure wrapped in linen bandages. This wasn't just any figure. It was a clear depiction of the mummification process itself. The Egyptians believed that by wrapping the body in sacred cloth, they were protecting it from decay and ensuring its purity for the afterlife. These symbols acted as both a record and a guide, helping future generations understand how to honor their dead with the same reverence. Another fascinating discovery was the use of specific hieroglyphs that referred to Anubis' role as a guardian. These inscriptions were often found near burial sites or in tombs, reinforcing the idea that Anubis wasn't just a god, but a protector who watched over souls during their passage through the afterlife. The presence of these symbols meant that even those who couldn't read hieroglyphs could recognize the divine presence of Anubis, offering comfort and reassurance to the living and the dead alike. What made these symbols even more remarkable was how they were integrated into everyday life. They weren't confined to grand temples or elaborate tombs. Instead, they appeared on small artifacts, pottery shards, and even personal items like amulets. This widespread use suggests that Anubis wasn't just a figure of worship. He was a part of the daily spiritual fabric of Egyptian society. His presence was felt in every home, every tomb, and every moment of life leading up to death. Imagine stepping into a dark, cool chamber deep beneath the sands of Egypt, where the air feels thick with mystery and history. This is no ordinary room. It's a sacred space that has been hidden for thousands of years, waiting to be discovered by modern archaeologists who were completely blown away by what they found inside. The moment the team entered this mysterious chamber, their eyes widened, not just from the sight of ancient relics, but from the realization that this place might hold secrets about Anubis, the jackal-headed god who played a starring role in guiding souls through the afterlife. As they shone bright lights into the chamber, the first thing that caught their attention was an intricate series of carvings along the walls. These weren't just random decorations. They were telling stories of journeying through the underworld, of weighing the heart against the feather of Ma'at to determine if a soul was worthy of eternal peace. The artistry was so detailed and powerful that it almost felt like the spirits of ancient priests were still present, whispering their wisdom into the silence. But what really stunned the archaeologists was the central object in the room, a massive stone pedestal covered in dust and age. On top of this pedestal lay an ornate sarcophagus, its surface etched with symbols that hinted at a powerful connection to Anubis. It wasn't just any tomb. It was a place where sacred rites were performed, possibly even by high-ranking priests who served as intermediaries between the living and the divine. The discovery raised more questions than answers, but one thing was clear. This chamber had once been alive with spiritual energy. As they carefully examined the artifacts scattered around the room, the team found a collection of objects that suggested this space was not just for burial, but also for rituals meant to ensure safe passage into the afterlife. There were small bowls filled with aromatic resins, likely used in purification ceremonies, copper tools that hinted at the crafting of ceremonial items, and even fragments of papyrus scrolls that may have contained ancient prayers or incantations. Every object told a story, and together, they painted a vivid picture of the spiritual practices that once took place here. The role of Anubis in this chamber was unmistakable. The jackal-headed god was not just a symbol. He was an active participant in these sacred rites. His presence was felt in every corner of the room, from the carvings that depicted his journey with Osiris to the offerings left for him as a guardian of the dead. It's as if the chamber itself was designed to honor Anubis and ensure that those who were buried here would be guided through the perilous journey of the afterlife. This new discovery has given archaeologists a deeper understanding of how ancient Egyptians viewed death, not just as an end, but as a transition under the watchful eye of their gods.